Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Machine Dreams, where we step past the demos and the buzzwords to talk with the people actually building AI to understand what's holding up, what's falling apart, and what actually comes next. I am Kolawole Samuel Adebayo. I'm a technology analyst and Forbes contributor. And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful, wonderful co-host.
Hi, Sam. How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, very well. It's been great. We've actually had a lot of traction in recent times. I was just checking the numbers today, and we've had like 20,000, about 21,000 streams so far across platforms.
Very cool. Machine dreams and the dreams are taking place. Hey, everyone. I'm Leah Stern, Global Communications Strategist and Venture Capitalist. Today, we're talking about AI and drug discovery, not the hype, but what's actually used with machine learning to design therapeutics. Joining us is Maya Ashkenazi Otmazgin, founder and CEO of Maolac, a company building what they call protein intelligence, essentially teaching AI to understand and predict how proteins behave, which has massive implications for how drugs get discovered and developed. Maya, welcome to Machine Dreams. Great to have you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. Thanks again, Maya. So let's just get right into the basics, right? When you say protein intelligence, I'm curious to know what that actually means for someone who is in a computational biologist. Exactly what problem are you trying to solve?
So most of the company in that space are always talking peptides. For those of you who are not familiar, peptides are short chain amino acids, very small from size structure. Most of the biological drugs, everything that's considered to be biological drug, is based on peptides. But Maolac is not dealing with peptides. We are dealing with the full protein. For example, there are a lot of protein that you may have heard of, lactoferrin, for example, which considered to be an immune protein, or collagen that a lot of us take from different reasons. Those are huge protein. If we have to take them and to try to look at the map of the world, so in a way, it's like a small town versus an entire continent. Okay, that's the ratio between a peptide to a protein. And Maolac is dealing with the full protein. Peptides are very important, and they have the ability to walk through your body and do a lot of things related to different biological or metabolic scale. But protein, this is what the playbook of DNA asks our body to produce from the food we eat after it breaks down to the amino acid. So we are basically, when you say protein intelligence, we are not giving you another short chain amino acid that at the end would end up in a certain immunoglobulin, antibody, hormone, enzyme. Maolac is actually giving you the full protein. So when you say protein intelligence, we are trying to give our body a better access for something that is already well cooked and would have the ability to absorb better, have better efficacy, and do not rely on your own mechanism or your own the factory of your body that would have the need to produce, because as we are getting older, some of the protein that we are not able to produce are a degradation of our body capacity to produce them. So when we say protein intelligence, is making it accessible to the end product, not a certain precursor that would increase bioavailability and efficacy within the human body.
That's really interesting. And Maya, I've followed your journey of the company, and it's quite fascinating how you actually came up with the idea of Maolac. It has a fantastic origin story. Can you share that with us?
Yes, it's a weird concept. A lot of people, when they are thinking about breast milk, they feel awkward. They are asking themselves, what's the connection between something that infant consume to me, an older man or something like that? What's the connection? So the connection go back to first class of biology in high school. A lot of people taught us that Darwin or the strong ones survive, and that through biology you have a certain way to improve or control different characteristics, like the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, and even those kinds of things. So if you take that ancient knowledge and you apply it on human breast milk for mammals, not just for human, other mammals do not have baby formula that can replace their nutritional needs. And you look only on the content of protein, you realize that that's the playbook of nature that would help bring in different health characteristics that would help you survive certain climate changes, nutritional changes, pandemic, for example. So breast milk is nature playbook for our survivals as mammals. So what is Maolac is basically doing, we are taking that playbook and we created an AI system that uses protein intelligence to help us, like Lego, break down nature composition and scout it in existing natural sources, not in order to replace it, but in order to biomimic it and create protein blends for different health indication that would act as an active component in nutraceutical.
That's great. You just spoke about the AI system you're building, and this is something I'm actually very curious about. I know that for large language models, like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, those AI systems or AI chatbots are trained on billions and billions of web pages, right? You're working with proteins. How much training data actually exists for what you're trying to do? Because, my understanding is that biological data is both scarce and incredibly expensive to get.
Not a lot as you assume. That kind of an information that humanity needs would have much less than other models. And I had a meeting yesterday with a very smart woman, and I told her that what is happening right now is like, I'm not at Gen Z, for example, but I'm at the beginning of it. Let's put it that way. So I had the chance to see internet through all of the phases. And in a way, I'm only 34, so a lot of happened in the tech industry in 30 years. Okay? Take that 30 years, bring it to biology. The pace there is not nearly as it is in the tech industry. So basically, a lot of us think that science and everything related to that must be or must have a lot of we are at 26, so how come there is a huge gap? There is a reason that there are still a lot of diseases that have no cure or no significant breakthroughs. In my opinion, the AI is a great platform to help us at the first, since a lot of decades, to fasten that and accelerate the process in health, science, and so on. But the pace there is much lower than what you can see in the tech industry. And this is why we are still not living up to 120 like we are 20. Let's put it that way.
Just a follow-up question quickly. I just really want to get the sense of what you've just explained, which I think is remarkable. Are you saying that it's not as difficult as I have assumed and as many people have assumed to get training data for what you're trying to do in your ecosystem?
It is difficult, but there are not a lot of resources that the world is putting that there versus other industries. If we would have understand better the need to invest more, applications is nice, but if you will take the same money, governmental capabilities, and you will put it in human science, we would have seen much better results in this year, for example. So it's in our hand. And if in a way we really care about our future, we need to invest more in using AI tools for science and not be afraid of it.
You spend quite a lot of time in the lab. You come out of some of the greatest educational institutions in Israel. You really have your finger on the pulse of some of the most interesting technologies that are coming out in health tech, med tech. What are some things that you're really excited about that you've seen revolutionary in terms of tech coming out of the country in your space?
In a way, everything that Maolac does. We realize that there is a huge gap in the nutraceutical space. When we are sick, we are taking drugs. For the last 60 years or so, there is no new molecules that are considered to be drugs or has been registered as drugs. So we are coming to our senses to understand that magnificent machine named the human body, everything or almost everything that is wrong with it has a solution within human biological mechanism. So there is a huge growth in everything related to biological drugs, whether they are peptide-based or protein-based. So everything, I think, can really change the needle and improve humans' lives. This is things that Maolac are working on. Nutraceutical is for us, for example, it's like the first stage. We'll go to other more deep stage in the future, I believe. But for now, the ability to help people reduce symptoms for different digestion problem, whether it's women or men. This is another thing we have to understand. Women biology is not like men. The way we react to drugs is not the way men will react to drugs. Hormonal stage, age, gender, influence, everything. So the current modern medicine has to evolve, and symptoms before you actually sick in a certain condition must be addressed differently for men and women. So we use everything in our power and the technology that we are creating to address those areas.
Thank you, Maya. Walk us through what happens after your AI predicts a protein design that looks promising. Because I think that's what I think. I think there's a gap between when a model says that this is going to work and, when a pharma company can actually test or manufacture it.
You still need to produce it in a cost-effective way, in a way that you can scale it up, in a way that you will address regulation. Different countries has different regulation, and you need to test the product on actual clinical tests. You have to do all of that. You are 100% right. And in Maolac, and you have to be precise. There is a reason that a lot of AI models are not successful when it actually comes to clinical studies. I will not say the actual name of the company, but you can go online and see a lot of other AI-based company that scouts ingredient through AI. It's two letters in a way, but huge gap in technology or methodology between industries and companies. At the end, if it's not successful in clinical trial, you don't have a product. but you still have to check all the other boxes and make sure you are not getting into clinical studies without having the rest of the checks. So in Maolac, we are doing everything in parallel, and all the product that we have designed in that methodology, so 100%, like 10 out of 10, was successful in clinical studies. So what you can understand from that is, one, it can work. Second, when you do it right and you work on everything in parallel, you can bring valid solution, valid new ingredient, and you can do it for different health indication. We just started. In the future, we will cover a wider area of capabilities. This is just the beginning. It was a POC, let's put it that way.
And Maya, as we look towards the future and the evolution of the company, what's next? Where do you see the company in 3 years? Where are the products available? What are the key markets? If you could just give us a forward-looking perception of everything.
It's a very important question. Right now, we are leading the gut health through proteins, influencing microbiome, not sugars, fibers, or living bacteria or dead bacteria or whatever that currently in the market, leading the sports segment, longevity. Let's put it that way without revealing anything proprietary. We are always ahead of what we think and we believe a human population need, and currently don't have an appropriate solution within, whether it's the pharmaceutical industry or the nutraceutical industry. So we always try to bring product that won't be more of the same, but would actually help people improve the current solution that exists in the market.
My last question for you, and this is genuinely something that I think about quite a lot. If this technology works and you can genuinely compress drug timelines, what risks come with that speed? Because moving fast in software is different, very different from moving fast when you're dealing with therapeutics that go into the human body.
True. This is why we are not discovering or producing new molecules. This is not what we are doing. We are always looking for what nature designed, that a newborn that is considered to be relatively small and don't have a lot of tool to deal with the outside world, and what biology is giving him as the first tool to survive through breast milk. So we are always mimicking what was designed originally there. So with that, we hit two things: safety always, and efficacy. Because if nature designed that to help or to make sure that a certain thing would be able to develop at a certain stage for something that is new to this world, it must have the same capability for us as an older people, at least that. And as I said, it's just the beginning, not engineering anything in the lab. Always try to see within nature what we can replicate the best way and make other people, give them more access to it. That's it.
Maya, thank you so much for joining us on Machine Dreams today and for breaking down this in a way that actually makes sense. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you to everyone listening. If this conversation was valuable, please share it and subscribe. We've got more honest conversations about AI coming your way. See you next time.